Yeah, I mean, that's the products we're going to be testing tonight and this weekend is we're going to beat the shit out of it. Right?
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. But again, that's the point. But again, like even with, and this can go back to business, this can go back to training, whatever you want to do. But I think even if you're going to sell a product, that product has to align with your values. Right, that product has to be an offshoot of who you are as a business, who you are as a coach, who you are as a trainer, whatever the world it may be, but it needs to align with what you do, right? And I think that's why the yoke bar is such a success in terms of a product, because you can beat the shit out of it. You can hand it down. I know coaches that have handed down yoke bars, right? Like from one person to the other. And years go by. I know somebody just messaged me the other day and said, I have like the first yoke bar, like the first generation yoke bar that you guys put out. And it's like, yeah, that's like that whole idea of live, learn, pass on. Someone buys a product, it lasts forever, and they can pass it on to somebody that's just starting out. They can pass it on to somebody that they, another coach, an assistant, or whoever it is. And it's like, you have to be able to stand behind what you do in terms of service and what you sell in terms of product.
And do you use it? It's
right.
I don't want to mention the name of the bar, but there's a bar that we've been using here for the last year and a half or whatever it is. The pad's fucking done. It's fucking done.
Yeah.
And so we noticed it this last weekend, and it's like, well, that's fucking great.
Yeah,
the pad's fucking gone. But I've noticed that since then, they've made an iteration, and they sell a completely different pad now. That's why I don't want to mention. I don't want to downgrade the product, because I'm guessing that the reason why they changed their pad is because the first one fucking falls apart.
It's that feedback. They got that feedback.
A year and a half, so they made the correction, which is the right thing to do. I never would have fucking put the thing out. It would have been in my gym for a year and a half.
Beat the shit out of it.
Working on that thing before that. So to avoid that whole situation, because what happens then is how many pads are you going to have to go replace? Because if you're selling it as being a durable pad and all this other stuff, the fucker better last a long time, a number of years, or you should be willing to replace it because it's breaking down. Now, if you get, 500 of those things out there, it becomes more expensive to be able to replace the rush to market, if that's what it was, or than it does to actually take the time, which is hard. It's fucking hard, because you have something you want to bring to market, you're using it, you fucking love it, but it doesn't have the repetitions in it to be able to go that way.
Right.
To circle back to something else you said was, if you have a business, the values need to align if you want to be able to sell what that business is. Where I'll flip that back to the people that are listening, because most don't have a business.
Right.
What if you're selling yourself? If you're trying to sell yourself in whatever you're doing, shouldn't yourself align with what your own values are? Because if most of the time they're not, if you don't know what your values are, go back and listen to the podcast from a couple podcasts ago.
Yep.
It was definitely on that one. 1, 2, 3 ago, I believe it was 2 or 3 ago.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And how we do a deep dive into that.
Yep.
Because then you're going to be frustrated and upset all the time. So if I was trying to run a business that didn't align with those values, how well do you think the stress and the frustration and all that would be? Be through the fucking roof.
Absolutely.
So if you're trying to run your life in such a way that doesn't align with what your own values are, then you're trying to run your life completely opposite of how most people are going to try to run a successful business. So you can't expect it to be able to go in the right direction, even though it's easier to lie to yourself than it is to be able to lie to staff, customers, and everybody else.
Yeah, and it's that whole idea of, and I think it's the term is cognitive dissonance, is when you're acting in a way that does not align with who you are, what you believe, and there's only so much gas in the tank for those actions.
Sometimes I don't know if people know what they are and what they believe.
Right.
And especially today. In today's world, because we're being lied to by fucking everybody, everywhere, right? So the amount of lies that are coming out, just not politically and all, but in this industry, it's what Wendler had a shirt years ago that said, you're being fucking lied to, and I used to laugh about it, and holy fuck, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So if that's what's being fed in, to somebody, then what do you think's going to be coming out?
Shit in, shit out.
Unless they're able to be able to pause and have these conversations with themselves about who they are, what they actually believe, what is their influence, and question the influence, even if it's us sitting here talking. We could
absolutely.
be, you know, and if I was listening to us talking, I'd be thinking, how much bullshit are they spewing right now? Right? I mean, you should be asking that about everybody.
Right.
You know, about everything. And because that's how you're going to figure out who you are by having those conversations with that, because you're going to have to figure it out. And how do you figure out if this is bullshit or this is bullshit or that's bullshit? At some point in time internally.
Yeah, you need some sort of indicator.
Yeah, you have to have a gauge. And what is your gauge? Right? Because if you're always lying to yourself and if you're always making excuses and you're fucking lazy and you're not accountable for anything, your gauge is fucking broke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which means your outside influences are going to fucking trample all over you, and you have nothing to fucking complain about because you're fucking broke because you're not looking at doing the self-assessment. I have no fucking idea how we just got here.
I fucking love it. No, but it's true. But it even comes back to everything we were talking about: sales. We were talking about business. We were talking about you know. Having to have those objective measures in place and those systems in place to determine growth or to determine success. And it's like, it all starts with the whole idea of if you're on an airplane and that shit's going down, you have to put that mask on yourself first before you help the person sitting next to you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Before you can sell something, sell yourself, sell a product, sell a whatever, it's like we need to understand who we are, the direction we want to go into, and what we believe, what we perceive as truth, what we perceive as our priorities in life. Therefore, we can make a clear and concise decision based on those morals, those directions. It's just like having a compass. It's like just the true north.
But understanding that your compass, my compass, and I'm just speaking for myself, it's broken. We're all broken. I mean, as humans, we are all fucking broken. Some way. We are all broken.
Yep.
So when you're looking at that internal compass for that temperature or whatever you want to try to be able to gauge, you can't think that you're perfect.
Oh, fuck no.
Right?
No, or that you're not going to change over time.
I think that's why a lot of people don't want to start having that inner dialogue with themselves, because they're going to look back and say, well, I used to be an addict. I used to do this. I used to do this. I really don't know. And no, we're all fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
We're all fucked up. We all have a history. We're all broken. That doesn't mean that your common sense or your gauge is broken. Right? Nobody can take that away from you. Now, when you go back to what I was talking about before, you're conviction driven and you're in a constant state of overlearning. Yeah, your bullshit detector is going to get a little bit better. But this is where I have that little inner conflict with myself. Did it really get better, or did it just become smarter at what I already knew was fucked up from the beginning? Right? Because there's that little twinge. Oh, that's fucked up, but then you don't know why. Right. And then when you go to start to do a deep dive, there's bias. You want to try to support how you really think, but not take the time to look at, the opposite of what you really think to be able to see that way. And I think that's what grows over a period of time. But it doesn't matter going down either, because you should go down both those roads, supporting your bias and against that. But you knew something was not right.
Yeah. Right.
You see, that's what I'm saying is, I think, for the most part, we all know something's just not right.
Yeah, it doesn't sit well.
But then it takes a little bit of time, experience, education, and so forth to be able to know when you start going down those paths, which one is, what do they call that? Cognitive bias? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And what's the other one where there's dissonance and bias? So you got to understand but that comes after you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if with that further education becomes a bigger flame of letting you know what's fucked up. Maybe. I don't know. know.
Yeah. And it's funny. Everything can go back to training. Is like, if you do not start the process of having those conversations with yourself. Like, I'm not saying just sit in a park bench and just talk to yourself in front of the birds, right? Like, if you want to do that, fuck it. It's your life. Do what you want to do. But start to kind of ask yourself questions. Like, it happened to me yesterday. I was like, I really, because I went for like a 3-mile ruck yesterday. What do you got? What is it? Oh no.
My fucking watch just said. So fucking explain to me.
What the fuck?
I'm done with this fucking technology shit. For some fucking reason, Siri on my watch just gave me a fucking search result for here's what I found about birds. Fucking birds.
Even when they're not up here, they're fucking with us. I think the CIA got that one wrong.
Birds. Okay, anyhow, back to what you were saying.
Back to what you were saying is if people aren't giving themselves the time to have those conversations, that internal monologue, or just kind of check in with yourself. I mean, this is not the first time we've mentioned this on the podcast. Like, this is a recurring theme because it's important. Touching base with yourself in terms of like the direction you're going and your actions and what you're doing. Like I said, it happened to me yesterday. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for. I had like a weighted backpack. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for like a little ruck. Cool. And I was like, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And I was like, nope, I'm being a lazy piece of shit. I'm just going to grab that fucking bag and just stop overthinking things. And I just went. But it could easily, if I hadn't, I've done that so many times in my life where I'm just like, like 5 reps is good. I should have done 8. Like, but you know what I mean? It's like those little shortcuts, but they start to add up. And then it puts you in a position where you're like, I don't know where the fuck I am. Like, this is not who I am or what I do or what I want to do. And everything feels fucked up.
It compounds itself. That's the lack of the consistency, what I talked about earlier.
Absolutely.